bright out here. Good morning. It's a sunny day. I'm Barbara. It's Tuesday, May 26th. My coffee. Anyway, it's a bright sunny day. My dad just called me, which was fun because I called him yesterday and it must have been nap time because nobody answered. He turns the phone off on nap time when it's nap time and then forgets to turn it back on. I asked him if he knew I called him yesterday. He said, no, you know my phone. It can do all these things, but I don't know how it works. So he was just thinking about calling me, so that's good. Anyway, they're fine. Apparently they had a musical event yesterday where everybody sat at a separate table, but they had a two-piece band come in and play military songs and things like that. So that's nice. And he said that they served them lunch outside one day. So that's good. They're getting outside. He's asking my brother to bring him his hat that covers his ears so he could go out in the sun. But they're good, which is good. Well, you know, it's been a while since I called him if he called me. And he wasn't returning my call. He didn't know I called. Anyway, I can barely keep my eyes open. It's so bright. And I'm looking at my house, which is reflecting the light. So maybe I should put sunglasses on. Is that too weird? So I went to get my other cell gris. Put my other cell gris on, which you haven't seen yet because I didn't want to wear the same sweater again, and I put this sweater on, and I guess I'm gonna see if I can reposition this so you can see it. So this sweater, I almost didn't wear it because I have no idea what it's called. I will do a little bit of rummaging and see if I can figure it out, but this sweater is the first sweater I ever knit. So this is knit with cotton, washcloth cotton, sugar and cream, or whatever that's called, from Joann's. And this is the first sweater I knit. It's just got a rolled stockinette hem, and it's just got a pearl stripe detail and a kind of a mock turtleneck. I'm pretty happy with my sweater. I don't know where I got the pattern. I might have gotten it from Ravelry. I probably did because I probably already knew about Ravelry when I knit this. So it might be even in my library. So I will look and see if I can find this sweater and tell you what it is. Because actually it's a really nice pattern. Now, I have no idea if it's supposed to be made with, like, I don't know, what weight is the sugar and cream cotton? It's like a worsted, right? At least a DK, but I think it's like a worsted. It's very thick, but it's okay, comfy. And anyway, so this is my first sweater. I never wore it very much because it was sleeveless, and I was always embarrassed about how heavy my arms were, and it's a little bit impractical because it's so heavy, but it doesn't have any arms, so seems fine out here today, so I'm gonna wear it today and see how it does. But anyway, my first sweater. I did a pretty good job on it. Anyway, so I don't know what it's called, but actually I kind of like it, and I'm thinking I hope I can find the pattern because maybe I'll make another one. I worked on my bralette yesterday for quite a while. I got it up to where you split the back from the front, so I have the little back straps on stitch markers holding them. It just is 6 stitches on each side, and then the rest is all bound off. And I'm just ready to start the front part. So we shall see. I would have worn it yesterday if I had it, I think. I mean, I don't know. I may not wear it at all. It may just be, you know. May just be something I wear after dog walk and I take a shower and I just lounge in, and I know I'm not going anywhere. After we're in and we close the garage door, that's it. Are we in? Close the garage door. So I worked on that, and then I started working on my, but now I have to think and read the pattern. So I was done, you know, I got to that point and it was a stopping point in my day. So I stopped, and then when I went back to do some knitting, I picked up my sea salt and started working on it because it's at the stockinette stage, and so I could just do that. And I finished my first ball of yarn on the body, and I brought in the second ball, and I've been very nervous about that, with good reason, I think. Because the first ball of the body just knit the most perfect stripes. It's just a striped sweater. Full-on striped sweater, like this yarn was made for this sweater to make this kind of stripe. And I am not going to get that from the second ball of yarn. I'm getting, I don't know what. It feels like the lengths of the colors are much, much shorter in this ball of yarn than they were in the first body bottle of yarn. So I am not getting stripes, I don't think, but I've only done a few rows in the new one, but I'm going to get some pooling. So I'm going to have a sweater that's striped down to the middle of my belly and then pooled down to the rest of it. It is what it is. I'm not sure what I could have done about that. I could have been alternating skeins the whole time, but that seems like it would have been weird. I don't know. I don't know. If I hate it, I can always take it out. But I think I'm not going to hate it. I think I'm going to be fine. And we will see. We will see what happens. So, and I worked a lot on Maisie. She's I think only one more leg to go, really. I mean, it's pretty haphazard. I see something, I cut it off, you know. I mean, she's laying there and I'm cutting off on the outside of a leg. This is not, we got a big truck going by. This is not an organized trimming by any stretch of the imagination, but she's looking pretty good. She's got a few bare spots where I cut it too close. And a lot of places that still need to be brushed, but I bought the brushes yesterday, and so I've been working on her as long as, you know, trying not to annoy her too much. She doesn't, after a while, she doesn't mind if I cut it. I can sit there and clip all that hair as long, you know, she's perfectly fine. But once I start brushing it out, then she's like, well, I'm done with this. Oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. I read in Prevention magazine 25 years ago that if you pinch and pull on your earlobe when you have the hiccups, your hiccups will go away. I've been doing that for a long time. And it actually works pretty well. Not every time, but pretty well. There you go. That's your public service announcement for the day. Anyway, it's a beautiful, gorgeous day. We were, so I said to Dennis, so does that mean we're mowing today? He said, oh, or tomorrow. I'm not the only procrastinator in the house. It's not supposed to rain till Thursday, so we have today and tomorrow. I was thinking we would just both go at it at the same time and get the riding mower and just knock out both yards at the same sitting. But if I feel like I want to do some exercise, I might mow the backyard today because, again, it needs to be mowed. Because we've had rain and beautiful weather and whatever. It's going to be 80. You're not going to hang around with me much outside today, are you, pup? Because it's going to be 80. There you go. Show them how beautiful you look. Show them how beautiful you look. Yes. Yes. No clumps under your ears, under your neck. Yeah. Yeah. And every once in a while you get a regular cuddle that doesn't involve any brush, right? Yeah. Poor baby. Even when I cuddle her, I'm like picking at a clump and trying to open it up so that I can brush it. Right? Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. She likes to be brushed. She doesn't mind being brushed if you can just brush her. So once we get her cleaned up, and start our regular routine, it'll be fine. We'll be better. We'll be better owners, puppy. I promise you. I promise you. Yeah, you won't have to go through this again. I hope. But I very much understand. The first time she had an adult, her only adult trim was last September. And she trimmed her down. She was practically shaved. She said I had to I couldn't keep any length because she was so matted. So, did we take that hint? No. But who knew we were going to be in charge of her? All right, I'll stop. She came outside and went immediately under the deck, right? Yeah, I didn't trim your face evenly. They didn't trim your face evenly, no. But I'll work on that too. Yeah. Oh, you're such a good girl. You're such a good girl. All right. So anyway, so I'm gonna sit out here and knit in the shade, and listen to the birds, and relax until the decision is made if I'm gonna mow by myself or if we're all both gonna mow. Probably not. We probably will save that for tomorrow so I can talk about mowing again, like I do. So the end of the story to the flagpole is, got a call yesterday. Dennis was working on his, in his wood shop. And I was sitting out here and I thought I heard the phone, but I wasn't, anyway, when I went inside, there was a message. Call me back. We need your opinion on something for Dennis. So I said, your mother called and left a message. She wants your opinion. So he comes in. I should have rushed in to listen to the conversation so that I would have a better story to tell, but I didn't hear the beginning of the conversation. But the crux of the matter was, she had gone to Home Depot and gotten something, wanted his opinion about whether he thought it would work or not, meaning come over and help us with the flagpole. But she didn't say that. She wanted his opinion. I don't know why. She's so funny. So he said, okay, I'm coming right now. He is trainable. He was in the middle. It was so frustrating for him because he was in the middle of something, but they cannot wait. They say they can, but they can't. So he said, I'm coming now. So he went, but she had bought some little. The problem is the pole broke off, and so one part wouldn't go inside the other part. Or I didn't get the whole story, and I didn't go. But in the end, the thing she bought wasn't going to work, and so they decided that they were just going to take the bottom out of the hole and put the new top in the hole. I guess she wanted to know if the flag would be high enough. He said he thought it would be high enough, but and I told them they're going to want that pole in. It's Memorial Day. They're going to want the pole in. That's important to them. And I was right. They wanted the pole in, but they didn't have a flag yet. She ordered the flag, but they didn't have a flag yet. So they didn't have a flag to put on the pole. But anyway, so he put the pole in the ground. So the pole is now in the ground. Hopefully it will stay there. I don't know if Anyway, he came back and said, okay, I put the pole up. They wanted the pole up, but they don't have a flag. I'm like, okay. So they're all ready for when their flag arrives. It will be fine. Oh, you have the view of my tomato can. I should turn this way, and then you would have a view of the little lemon trees. I don't know. I think that's Dennis's nail can. Anyway, so that's the current state of the flagpole story. We'll see how it does, just stuck in the ground, once the flag comes. Because I think having a flag on a pole is a lot of pressure on the pole when the wind blows. So we shall see. But Dennis seemed to think it was fine. I'm sure it's fine. What do I know? I didn't go. But that's the end of the story of the flagpole. And so Dennis was grumpy for a while because his woodworking thing hadn't been going to plan anyway, and then he had to leave in the middle, and so he was a little grumpy, but he cheered up. But he's going to need to figure out, because it's time for him to plant his little plants. And I guess right now the plan is they're all going in the window boxes. I guess the window boxes are going to be bigger than I was picturing. But we shall see. So, anyway. I don't have my glasses on. I think I've been talking for a while. And it's going to be 80. So it's going to be warm. So I don't know if this is going to work. No sleeves. And it's nice and loose on me now. But it's very thick, as you can imagine. It's very thickly knit, that sugar and cream washcloth stuff. Yeah, so that was my first sweater. Well, you know, I didn't have a lot of money for yarn when I started knitting. And I was a new knitter and didn't feel confident. And I didn't know anything about yarn. And when you don't know anything about yarn, being able to buy yarn online doesn't really help. You don't know what to buy. If you don't know the characteristics of the different content and the sizes, and you know. So, and my first foray into a yarn shop was very bad. I mean, the people were nice, but the advice was the worst advice I've ever gotten. I bought a pattern. Let's see if I can find that. I bought a pattern for a shell that had a real drapey front. I didn't know anything about yarn, so I asked advice. Now this was a pattern that was made with habu, and it was a very light, airy shell that, and I have to find the pattern, but I think it's, you know, one of those really light habu fabrics or fibers, but knit on big needles. So she looked at it, she says, oh, this takes a size, you know, 6 needle or whatever it was. And she and I picked a yarn that I liked, that I ended up hating, and I made a sweater out of it, which I hated. Years later, I said, you know, but it was pretty and shiny. I think it had a little bamboo in it, but it was like a DK weight yarn. And she said, oh yeah, this says use size 6 needles on it, so that would work. It was the most inappropriate yarn for that pattern. That pattern needed like a fingering or a practically lace weight yarn to make it light and drapey. Anyway, worst advice ever. And I spent, you know, over $100, and I didn't have a ball winder or anything, so they wound it for me, so I couldn't take it back. Anyway, worst advice ever. I mean, that I can't even imagine anybody in a yarn shop giving that bad advice. So at that point in my knitting, I felt like I had more time than yarn. You know, the yarn was the least investment, the least I could invest in, because I could invest my time. In fact, I ended up before I knit that bad yarn in that pattern, I ended up knitting that pattern in this yarn too, just to see how it would work. Because I had more time. I felt like I was more important, you know, I had the time to invest in it rather than wasting the yarn. I didn't realize it, you know, and it looked awful, horrible, as you can imagine. And I think I still have that somewhere, like a giant swatch of dishcloth cotton. And so that's when I realized, wait a minute, that's not going to work with that yarn. Even I could figure that out at my level of beginnerness, and I was an absolute beginner. I was there with a friend. I should have asked her advice. She would have given me better advice, but she was off looking at something. Anyway. But actually, I'm pretty happy with my sweater. Well, I'll be wearing it today, see how it works out. I'll let you know tomorrow. But, and I want to say happy birthday, Sheldon. Megan's son's Sheldon. And I knew that. Sheldon, like in the Big Bang Theory. But she had tagged her husband, Malcolm, and so I said, happy birthday, Malcolm. It wasn't Malcolm's birthday. I don't know when his birthday is. It was Sheldon. Happy birthday, Sheldon. So now I'm 2 days late because now it's Wednesday in New Zealand. And his birthday was Monday. But it's Tuesday in the United States. So I'm only 1 day late, really, Sheldon. I'm sorry. But I hope you had a wonderful birthday. 10. Double digits. It's all downhill from here, kid. I'm just kidding. The fun's just beginning. I guess you guys must be in school in New Zealand. New Zealand has done really well with COVID. And Megan's back at work. She works at a craft shop. And she's back working, so I wonder if schools are in session. I haven't talked to her in a while. I'll have to have another craft night with her and her family. Sheldon and Malcolm. And Eloise. So anyway, sorry, Sheldon. I hope everyone's great. I hope you have a beautiful day too. And you're safe and healthy. And feeling pretty good. So please, I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe and stay sane.